Just a minute, I'm almost ready.
This is the BBC Micro from 1981, an iconic machine that was branded by the British Broadcasting Company and made by a small company called Acorn. It was a good machine, but like all early 1980s computers, it had a slow and an inefficient microprocessor. Luckily, a new kind of processor was emerging, reduced instruction set computer, or just RISC. The huge success of the BBC Micro helped Acorn to develop the first commercial RISC processor, and that project was led by Steve Furber.
In the early 1980s, it was clear that 16-bit microprocessors were coming along, and so that was an obvious way to go. In particular, I remember the paper by David Ditzel and David Patterson, which was titled "The Case for the Reduced Instruction Set Computer." They were expounding a move to much simpler microprocessor architectures. And not only were they expounding this, they were demonstrating the effectiveness of this idea by building a very competitive microprocessor using a class of postgraduate students in a year. So if they can design a microprocessor, maybe we can too. This one here is the first ARM chip, which arrived on April 26, 1985, and was plugged into a test card, and later that afternoon was executing basic programs. At that point, we now realised that not only was it possible to build a microprocessor, but that we had done one, and that our test results fulfilled all our expectations. And then at the end of the 1980s, we developed ARM3, which is the first ARM to have on-chip cache memory. At the end of my time at Acorn, in the late 1980s, we were looking for ways to separate the ARM business out of Acorn, give it access to wider markets, and generally fulfill a broader role. Very soon after I left, Apple came knocking at the door. They wanted to use the ARM processor in their Newton handheld product.
Apple was a good reference for the ARM company, a company that was created to develop and license the Acorn RISC know-how in 1990. As a result, the vast majority of the mobile phones and Palm computers are now using ARM RISC technology.
Usually, if you work in research and you produce a result, then the consequences are quite difficult to foresee fully. In Africa today, the major access to the internet is through the mobile phone system. And so the ARM processor in some sense is helping African fishermen find the best market to go to sell their produce, to maximise their income. Now, there is no way that 25 years ago I could sit there designing a microprocessor thinking, one day this will help African fishermen get a better deal for their catch.